Hey guys, Eddie Wilson here with Think Realty Podcast. I'm excited because today I get to do it live. I never get to do these live. I get to talk to talking heads in Zoom calls. It's horrible. Nobody wants to do this anymore. Now we get to do it live today, but let me give us a quick shout out to our sponsor before we jump in. This episode is brought to you by Real Property Management. Working with the right property management company can put more money in your pocket, not less. Real Property Management provides a higher standard of property management to make sure you're maximizing the return on your investments. Experience the real difference with Real Property Management. Visit Real Property MGT, that's realpropertymgt.com. One of our guests today, I'm really excited to talk about because you would think that it would be a very boring topic, but he never allows it to be boring. And it's also one of those areas that I love talking about because if you're a real estate investor and you haven't begun to capitalize on using the tools that are available for us, like self-directed IRAs and investing in your retirement accounts, you are missing out. So today we have Derreck Long from Quest IRA. Derreck, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Eddie. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, I think you're probably one of the most exciting guys in the IRA space. You know?
I guess so. I mean, I've heard that a couple of times. But
I mean, who else wears Scooby-Doo socks on camera, you know?
Exactly. You gotta liven it up.
Yeah,
you know, when we're talking about IRAs and tax code and stuff, it can become very boring. So I try my best to make it exciting.
Yeah, I completely understand. It's interesting because it's a laborious topic sometimes until you understand the power and the strength of it, and then it gets very exciting.
Exactly. So one of the biggest things about it is just understanding why people are using self-directed IRAs, how they can impact not only you as an investor, but you as a saver, you as needing tax deductions. They hit every aspect in real estate. They really do.
Let's jump in and kind of hit the hardest topic going on in the marketplace right now. Silcon Valley Bank fails, right? It sends this ripple effect through the nation all the way down to the consumer. And the consumer goes, how does this affect me, right? Do I get a paycheck this week? I have all this money liquid sitting in a bank. Should I have it somewhere else? Should it be in a self-directed IRA? Should it be going into hard assets? I know you've got some opinions on that. Why don't you kick us off with that?
Absolutely. So the first thing we need to distinguish in this banking industry is a bank and a custodian. And FDIC insurance for both of them are drastically different. And everyone is so familiar with the banking side of things, right? And we know you get the $250,000 in FDIC
I think the whole world found out that last week. You know, like I don't think I think they never understood what that number was. But anyways, go ahead.
But the difference between a bank and a custodian is a custodian holds money at a bank. And as an example, almost every self-directed IRA company out there, including Quest, we are considered custodians. So our FDIC insurance is actually an aggregated balance across the board. So what this means is if I have $1 and you have $500,000, I'm FDIC insured up to $1 and you're FDIC insured up to $499,999.
Sure.
So you actually get more FDIC insurance when you go with any self-directed custodian. So a lot of people are starting to find this out, and we're seeing this humongous shift of people now, well, hey, let's set up a self-directed account, let's move in cash because you get a higher balance in that aspect.
Sure. Yeah, and so if you are not investing in a self-directed IRA account, which, you know, it always shocks me. We come to a conference like this when we're sitting in Houston. Inevitably, you'll speak tomorrow, or Anne-Marie or somebody from your team will speak tomorrow, and half the room still will not have entered into this journey, right? Why are they missing out? You know, like for the newer novice investor, why are they missing out? What are the benefits?
You know who's missing out is, I always say, the new people are coming into real estate. The people that don't miss out are experienced ones, someone like yourself, someone like many of your speakers. But the reason why is they have that I need it now mentality. Understand that when we talk about self-directed IRAs, solo 401ks, anything in this space, the IRS considers it a tax-exempt entity. Every single investment you do in an IRA will be truly tax-exempt. You can do a fix and flip, avoid all the taxes. Invest in that mobile home space, into that fund, avoid all the taxes. But if the IRS is going to give us a vehicle that lets us avoid all these taxes, well, they're going to take away something. And they say, hey, you can't spend the money for personal use. You can reinvest it. can't spend for personal use until you're old. Old being 59 right now is what they consider. So when I talk to the new guy that's 40 years old, he goes, man, I need that money today.
I don't wait 19 years, right?
Exactly, and they miss the boat on this. When they start trying to build it, well, now I'm already 60. Well, we can't just shovel in $1 million into it. So you have to have a little give and take, and you have to be able to see the future.
Yeah.
These are very powerful accounts. And obviously I do represent Quest Trust Company, but I always like to at least let your viewers know that, I mean, this holds true for any self-directed custodian out there. Like, this is just the IRS understanding of it.
Yeah. What I tell new investors all the time is, you've heard of diversification, and you think oftentimes diversification just means, single family, multifamily, buy and holds, mobile home, whatever it is, I always say start with diversification first with the current capital you have, right? Like, if you have this 401k that's sitting there earning, 2% or whatever it is right now, if you're lucky right now, if you're scared, you don't have to take the entire amount out and move it into some sort of self-directed structure. However, do you think that you could do better than the stocks that they're trading in your account? And the answer is yes, absolutely. The worst real estate deals I get in, 5x what the stock market's doing right now, or at least the funds and stuff that they're trading their 401k. And so I try to at least nudge them into just something, because once they see the power of it, once I saw the power of it, it changed everything.
Not only that, but if we're a brand new investor and we've never done a deal before, we probably have more money in that 401k, 403b, IRA, whatever it is, than our own checking account.
Sure.
Well, if I'm looking to be a real estate investor, why do I have all this big bucket of money sitting in stocks?
Right.
Let's put in what you're learning, what you're, something tangible, something I can feel, touch, see, look at.
People are so afraid to move it out of what they believe is safe.
Exactly.
And I think, however, now you have this entire grouping in the nation that are going, but is it really safe? And is it really earning? Can I actually get to retirement off this, this vehicle? And the answer is today, no, you can't.
What's really unique about that is, if we look across the board, there is somewhere right around $30 trillion in retirement accounts in the U.S. $30 trillion.
Wow. Right? That's a large number.
98% of all accounts over $5 million are self-directed.
Sure, I have heard that stat, and it doesn't shock me, because in the end, I would have never been able to get $5 million in my account at the way I was earning through my traditional corporate means.
It's impossible. Right. It's a great place to start, especially, but eventually, if you want to take that next leap and build real wealth, you have to use a self-directed account. It's necessary.
Yeah, and I've got into purchasing private equity, and the multiples on private equity are crazy, and exiting private equity inside of my self-directed, it gets very fun. So let's go back to just the marketplace today.
Absolutely.
I know that self-directed, typically in our space, is usually directed at real estate. However, you can really self-direct into a lot of other asset classes other than just real estate, correct?
Absolutely. So the IRS actually says your retirement account can invest into anything. It really can. They say collectibles, because you can't really value a collectible, right? It's not a thing. And they say alcoholic beverages. That's it.
Yeah.
And if you're trying to use your IRA or 401k to buy booze, man, this is the wrong podcast for you. So.
I don't know. Don't you do a show called IPA and IRAs?
I did, yeah. So we did a show called IPAs and IRAs because I'm a big beer guy. I like my beer.
Yeah, but it's been interesting because I know that art is one of those things that's like a gray area, and so it's not necessarily collectible, and you can get art inside of your IRA. I know a lot of guys that are investing in art. But also oil and gas, precious metals is a huge one.
We've seen precious metals, we've seen oil and gas, we've even seen a spike in cryptocurrency lately. I'm not a big crypto guy, but I'm a real estate guy, so I talk so much about real estate.
Sure.
But all you need to do is find a custodian that will allow you to invest in what you want.
Sure.
Quest is great for real estate. There's a company called Bitcoin IRA. They're really good at crypto.
Yeah.
There's companies that are really good with those precious metals.
Sure.
Find someone that you can
meet
link
your
up
needs.
with.
And the great thing is you can diversify even your custodians. You can literally have multiple accounts with multiple custodians that specifically deal in those asset classes.
Not only can you probably should.
Yeah.
So.
Are you allowed to say that?
Well, so
I think we probably should call Nathan or somebody.
I remind people all the time that when I'm talking, I do represent Quest Trust Company and Quest IRA, but ultimately everything I talk about is real education. We do pride ourselves in our knowledge in this area, and you can take anything I'm saying and apply it to the custodian that you want to work with. Do I want you to work with me? Yeah, but that's the sales side of it.
Sure.
A knowledge side, and what this podcast and what you have really built your organization around is giving people good education and good knowledge.
Yeah.
So.
Give me, for those that are listening, a little bit of a case study. Tell me a story of somebody that invested in their IRA and had some success. And I know that we're not building this is, what you can expect, but like give a story that they can attach to emotionally.
Absolutely. So one of the most unique things that happened, and this is a real thing that was with me, is my father-in-law, his name's Andy, he has worked at HEB as one of their primary butchers, like he works in the warehouse. And he built up this big 401k over 35 years of working there. That's a long time.
HEB is a grocery store?
Yeah, HEB is out here in Texas. It's a big grocery store. It's like a Kroger or Fry's or Albertsons, wherever you're from.
Okay.
And anyway, so they're a big grocery store out here, and he spent 35 years and was able to save up about $500,000 in his 401k. That looks pretty good.
Sure.
I told him, because he was very nervous, let's just take $50,000 and let me put it in something. Mm-hmm. And what we did is we took his $50,000 and we ended up actually putting it into a storage unit facility. Mm-hmm. And that was like a fund.
Sure.
Within a 3-year time frame, that $50,000 doubled to $100,000.
Wow, that's great.
And what was funny is he was so nervous about going through this space, but I was like, hey, well, let's go see. We drove down and he watched the construction on the storage aspect, like on the land as it was being developed. He had real communication, and he got emails on a consistent basis and phone calls. What is the money doing? He saw returns coming in. And at the end of this, when he saw how quick it happened, he wished he would put his whole account in there.
That's right. Yeah.
And
you're hooked.
Imagine that feeling. Just imagine for a moment that when you took that leap. That being said, I got the sad stories too.
Right.
You want to make sure you do due diligence. That's the sad side about self-directed IRAs is if you're going to be doing it, notice I helped them. I made sure we vetted the project. We knew who the syndicator was. We knew what was going on behind the scenes. Make sure someone's an open book. Make sure whoever
really,
you're
really
investing
important.
with.
So important that just because you have a self-directed account doesn't mean that you actually understand how to underwrite deals. And I watch people diversify on a whim, jump into all these other asset classes, never knowing how to underwrite it. Horror stories of people going, well, I got into this oil deal and I didn't know that there's such a thing called a dry hole. That sounds horrible, right?
Exactly.
And so like literally dig and there's no oil, there's no gas, and like, but well, that's why people invest for tax purposes. It's like, well, why did I invest out of the IRA? But lots of issues there. However, to me, that's where Think Realty and Quest does so well together. It's like you guys could come educate and push people towards this idea and the use of an amazing tool that's available for us.
Exactly.
You tie Think Realty to that. It's like, and then we put really credible investors in front of them that if they want to do it in a passive way, which they have to inside of their IRA, that they get to vet them collectively with an entire group of people.
And it's not just Think Realty. I work for another group, AAPL, or the American Association of Private Lenders, right? They do another big event as well where they can come
That's
in.
a good group too, by the way.
Okay,
So, I highly recommend them too.
So you just need to find one of those organizations like that, whether it's Think Realty, AAPL, where they can bring in and you're not selling anything.
Right.
Like, hey, look, no, you're interested in storage units. Here's the guy talking about storage.
Right.
You're interested in multifamily or
walk the hall, talk to them, and talk to every real estate investor that's in the hall that's been using them. So
exactly.
And we need to do this as a community. A community is so important in this space because it brings that safety, and it's. A lot of novice investors going at it alone, is a dangerous thing. They do not know what they're getting into. We're kind of closing up here, but any just last minute suggestions, thoughts for a novice investor that's really just getting started? Maybe just some advice for them.
Sure. Don't get sold on anything. Right. One of the biggest aspects is if you're going to be going through these motions, whether it's self-directed IRAs or real estate investing, it doesn't matter. Right. Don't get sold by a salesperson. Make sure you understand the investment and then get started.
Sure.
I think the biggest problem we see people have is they never take that leap of faith. They never go, okay, I'm actually ready to do this. And that holds true whether it's your own cash or IRA cash. Yeah, I want to see you use a self-directed IRA because I get to charge you a fee.
Sure.
Right. But it holds true no matter which way you're looking at it. So don't be sold something because someone has a good salesperson. Be sold on it because you believe in the asset, you believe in the investment, you believe in the individual.
That's great. I love it. How can they connect with you on social, and how do they get a hold of Quest IRA?
Yeah, well, if you guys do want to connect with us, the best thing is I always say email me at info@questtrust.com, or you can call us on a non-automated line called 281-492-3434 or 855-FUN-IRAs. So, Eddie, thanks so much for having us on.
Cool.
I love Think Realty, and I love a lot of the things you guys put on together. So
one other thing I really want to push, are you guys doing your Quest events this year? Are you going to have any events coming up?
We are. So actually, in a couple of weeks from now, we're going to be doing a Master Tax Avoidance class, which if you'd like to attend, all you do is send us an email. We'll get you a free ticket to it. We are not going to be doing our expo, the one that has like 1,000, 1,200 people. That will be next year.
Okay.
But we do events every single week on Tuesday and Thursday, whether they're in person or online, 100% free to everyone out there.
That's great. It's awesome. Very good. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Eddie. I appreciate you having me on.
Let me say one more quick thank you to our podcast sponsor, Real Property Management. Real Property Management. Working with the right property management company can put more money in your pocket, not less. Real Property Management provides a higher standard of property management to make sure you're maximizing the return on your investments. Experience the real difference with Real Property Management. Visit realpropertymgt.com. Thank you so much for watching us and joining us today. If you haven't already subscribed to YouTube and to our podcast, make sure you do that, as well as join us on social. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and what am I missing? LinkedIn. And we're there every single day. You can also pick up our magazine on the shelves of Barnes & Noble. Make sure you pick it up, or you can actually just go to thinkrealty.com and subscribe. We'll send it right to your house just for you. If you haven't joined us for the Tampa conference coming up, we give the best discounts. I give the best discounts on the podcast. Use the podcast phrase podcast, and you'll get a buy one, get one free on an amazing ticket for our Tampa show coming up in July 13th and 14th, and we would love to see you there.